I realized that a lot of people who weren't born in Eastern Europe and weren't born under the Iron Curtain just do not understand and never will be able to understand the massive cultural clash that followed once the Iron Curtain came down. It was like a whole new universe opening up. Like, imagine that since you were born, you had absolutely no idea of what American entertainment or American products are like. You didn't even know about the existence of Coca-Cola. And one day, like, all these things, all these new technology and gadgets and inventions are coming into your country. They're incredibly expensive. Only the rich can afford them, but at least now you know that they exist. Like, for the first time ever, you go from a Tetris game to a Game Boy. It's insane, right? Like, it felt as if the technological advancement was of at least 50 years. But not only that, now you have like various household items. Now you have like various products which are made in USA. So you realize the difference in quality. You have something that's like made in Russia and it guarantees that it will break in a couple of months. And then you have something that says made in USA and you know that it lasts. And it's interesting because I'm thinking about now the very idea of made in USA is mind-fucking. Like, is that a thing? Like, did that exist? Because even the American flags, if you buy them, you look at them and it's like made in China. So yeah, like there was a time, believe it or not, where you could actually buy products that were made in USA. And it also guaranteed stability. It also guaranteed quality. And believe it or not, they weren't even that expensive. Like, the price difference wasn't that bad. So how did we get from there all the way here? Now when you buy something, which apparently is made in USA, it is of such colossal failure that it is surprising if it works on day one. So if you buy a video game that's made in USA and it's a AAA respectable company, chances are the game will crash. Chances are you need to wait for a patch 1. Now it seems that even processors are going to suffer this, and it's coming from a very prestigious company. Like, this is not some indie co-op that is making processors since yesterday. No, this is Intel. And according to what's reported, game publishers claim that there is a 100% crash rate with these expensive CPUs. How is this even remotely possible? Like, it shouldn't happen. There is no way. Do they have no quality control? Do they not hire talented people anymore? Now, what's interesting is that a lot of individuals, on Twitter especially, they blame diversity, inclusivity, and equity on this shit. And the question is, well, could it be? Well, we know that diversity, inclusivity, and equity is taking away funding that's critical for mission success and diverts it into other diversity programs. We know that it does race-based hiring simply on nepotism. We know that it gets people that are competent fired due to jokes or edgy takes on Twitter. Like, we know it does all of this. We know that I have never heard a single company, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I have never heard a single company to say, yeah, like, ever since we have diversity, our products went cheaper and much better. Ever since we promoted our inclusivity thing, workers really like working at us. Like, you hear the promises, right? Like, you hear the promises, oh, you got, like, DEI in your company, and the workplace becomes better because of inclusivity. People are thinking outside the box because of diversity. Like, those are the promises. But not once do I see the actual results. Not once do I see a company coming out and say, hey, we're better than our competitors because we use DEI, they don't, and look how great our product has become. Again, if you know of such example, please correct me. But what I do know is that they're investing hundreds of millions of dollars into commercials promoting DEI. They're paying a lot of money to all of these armies of diversity officers. They're hiring based on race quotas. I mean, you get to see them in action, right? Like, you get to see with the Secret Service where the lady immediately said, oh, like, we need 30% representation, blah, blah, blah. But the competency doesn't seem to go up after the policies are being installed. We saw that submarine that went all the way down to Titanic and imploded. And the reason for it was that the captain said that, oh, too many straight white men. And the straight white men were telling him that the way he built the sub wasn't up to standard. So he had to hire new faces, had to hire new people that agreed with the way that he wanted to build the sub. And those were the ones that were telling him, no, actually, it's fine. We get to see with Boeing what's happening, right? Now, is it happening at Intel? I genuinely don't know, but the very fact that people aren't even willing to entertain the conversation. Like, this is something sacred. You're not even allowed to ask the question. Like, simply raising the question, they will immediately dismiss you. And I gotta ask why. Why did they immediately dismiss it? Why did they want to take the question and say, okay, well, you know what, let's see if that was the case. And they're looking at it like, let's see who was in charge of quality control. What was their merit? What have they done before joining Intel at quality control? Who was the chief engineer in charge of the product? What was their resume? What exactly did they perform before getting hired on Intel? What were their accomplishments? What was their merit? What exactly, right? They never want to do that for some reason. It's very mysterious. And the thing is, I don't know who they hired either. I don't even know if they have a quality control. I can only assume that they do, right? Like, most major companies must have one. But no, like, the talking point is toxic. Like, you're not even allowed to bring it up. You're supposed to say, no, like, this is how companies should always work. And if you complain you're a racist bigot, it's not that you're pointing out to a grift that is obvious draining resources away from where the company needs to invest. And it's obviously against hiring talented people. Because if you're the most talented person in the world, if you're the best engineer in the world, if they find out that you said something racist on Twitter, they will fire your ass. They do not care about the quality. They care about more of the moral purity of the people that are working there. And Intel is one of the leading companies when it comes to this shit. So look at this, right? Like, thousands of crashes on Intel CPUs, 13th and 14th generation. Experience constant crashes, taking entire servers down. Developers using these CPUs face frequent instability while building and working on the game. It can also cause SSD and memory corruption. Jesus fucking Christ. Game server providers hosting community servers with persistent crashing issues. Decompression and memory tests unrelated to Path of Titans also fail. Over the last 3-4 months, we have observed that CPU, initially working, will deteriorate over time, eventually failing. The failure rate we have observed from our own testing is nearly 100%, indicating that it's only a matter of time before the CPUs fail. The issue is gaining attention from news outlets and has been noted by Fortnite and Rad Game tools, which power decompression behind Unreal Engine. Users are also receiving misleading errors messages about running out of video driver memory despite having sufficient memory. This is like insane, man. This is insane because this is one of the most renowned American companies. When it farts, it should shit excellence. Like, this is what America has right now, right? Like, they already moved all of their manufacturing industry over to China, but at least when it comes to computer science, like, they're still on top, right? But the question is, like, for how long? I mean, you cannot be on top with this. You get like 1 or more 2 chances, and then you're done. I don't want to see Intel go to the next Pride Month, because they have absolutely nothing to be proud about with this shit. And apparently Intel admits that the damage to unstable 14th gen and 13th gen CPUs is permanent, and the incoming patch is preventative, not a cure. How the fuck did this shit get on the market, man? How was this allowed to get to the point where the consumers have it? Like, if it was a 5% fail rate, still unacceptable, but I can get it, you know, like maybe their tools didn't catch it. If Intel was this very small, upstarting company, I would get it. I would say, well, you know, they're trying their best. They don't have the resources yet. We're talking about Intel. How does this... There is no way. There is no way that this went onto the market without them knowing. They just wanted to ship the product and then let the people who buy it suffer some of the loss. I can't explain it any other way. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not short fat otaku. I'm not going to say that it's incompetence. It's America, not Russia. Also, short fat otaku told me that the culture matters, right? This is America. It's America. This doesn't happen in America. I would expect if it happened from China or any other place. But again, it's shocking. Maybe just for me, I don't know, because it's not just Intel, right? It's not just Intel. You're noticing all of these companies that were, as I mentioned before, when they were farting, they were shitting excellence in the past. And it's systemic. It's fucking systemic. All across the board. All of these companies are ending up making products more expensive with more people that they're hiring. So they're spending more on the product, and the product is actually worse rather than better. And there has to be an explanation on why it's systemic. Because it's not just one company. It's all over the place. Whether it's Boeing, whether it's video game companies, whether it's now hardware manufacturing companies, it's all over the fucking place. Systemic. And it's happening since last year. So there must be something that's connecting all of these companies together, which leads to the systemic level of failure. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.